What is up, everybody? Welcome back here to the Debbie Royale YouTube channel. We're back with another college football episode. We've been kind of taking our time with this one, kind of working on it, looking at the transfer portal. So we're going to be diving into the transfer portal rankings. Where have guys landed? What guys are still out there? We are going to be talking about new guys that popped in. Malachi Nelson, who just came in out of USC. I know reports are kind of iffy where that's at as time of this recording. The transfer portal is so crazy that we don't know sometimes. When I'm going to publish this video tomorrow, and there's going to be 3 more guys in this dang thing. So we're going to be looking at like our best fits that we really like, maybe projections where these quarterbacks are going to go, and some player profiles. We're going to be looking at their advanced stats from PFF, what they've done this year, and how that could fit moving forward, and what teams that we like, what teams that we didn't like, what players are we like concerned about, and might as well talk about Miami. They're up for every quarterback in the portal. They just haven't got one yet. So we're going to be diving into all the teams. This is just a quarterback episode. We're going to break this into 4 different parts. We're going to be looking at quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, tight ends, and in defense, we're going to do a whole episode on defense. So if you like college football, you like this type of content, hit that like and subscribe button, and we'll be diving into quarterbacks on the other side of the intro. All right, the transfer portal is absolutely crazy right now. So we had some big names come out, right? Riley Leonard going to Notre Dame, Dylan Gabriel, Oregon, and we have some other guys still kind of out there and deciding. So like I said, we're going to be going over quarterbacks in this episode, and we're going to be looking at basically the top 20. Now, where do we get this number from? Where do we get the top 20 from? We're getting it from On3. Now, I think On3 is one of the best services out there. I like 247 Sports as well. On3, I think just one of those, it's very user-friendly. Like I like it, and we're just using their rankings here, right? So these aren't necessarily my top 10. These are their consensus top 10 out there. The one caveat is Malachi Nelson from USC did enter the portal. We didn't necessarily have him on the rankings. I do want to mention him that he is out there. He was the number 1 recruit last year. I know he wasn't our number 1 recruit at the site and at our Patreon that we have. Jackson Arnold was our number 1 quarterback that we kind of dove into. So that is something to note. He won't be on this, but where do we expect him to go? I think there's a lot of speculation on that one. Now, as far as these top 10 that we're looking at, we got Cam Ward. He is still undecided. It looks like Miami's the spot for him. Miami's in running for a ton of different quarterbacks out there. I know Will Howard is out there. You see him at number 4. I know KJ Jefferson has Miami kind of crystal balled. So Miami's going to get one of these guys. I think Cam Ward is someone that they're going to be really looking into. We're going to be diving into Cam, though, in the player spotlight, so I don't want to just go over him totally here. And then we have Oregon coming in today with a smash grab, Dante Moore and Dylan Gabriel. So that looks like that very, fun bridge. I wish Dante Moore would have just went to Oregon last year, kind of waste that year at UCLA. He's going to be sitting behind Gabriel, learning from him, learning that system. Puts him in the running for 2 years. I think this is a huge grab for Dan Lanning and Oregon, where going to the Big Ten, they want to compete. You get Dylan Gabriel that can do that now, and then you get Dante Moore that can do that later. And I think Oregon going to the Big Ten does help out Dante Moore from Michigan, has that connection there, gets to play in his home state. A lot of fun things about that whole kind of vibe going on there. So shout out him in terms of where he landed. Will Howard still out there. It looks like USC is going to be the spot. It hasn't been official yet, but Lincoln Riley going in the middle of the night, and now his number 1 quarterback from last year transferring. I don't know what that says, though, about the program, right? Like, is Will Howard really better than Malachi Nelson? What does that say about Nelson? I see a lot of people saying that Lincoln Riley can't develop quarterbacks. I don't know. Maybe that he came in and he just didn't see what you need to see in practice, and he realized he's going to Big Ten, and you need to get like a solid quarterback there. I don't know what that really means. I don't know necessarily. I think Lincoln Riley is a good coach. I think that he had a terrible defensive coordinator, but I think time is going to tell with that. Then we got Riley Leonard in Notre Dame, and I think that's an interesting spot. I think that for Notre Dame, they have CJ Carr coming in. They have Kenny Minchie there. What does this mean? Are they going to develop guys, or are they just going to go out there and get those transfer portal guys every year? Where Riley Leonard's really got to step up as a passer this year. I think from a rushing standpoint, you like him. From a passer, he's got to see that. Aiden Childs from Oregon State going to Michigan State. That's about as good a quarterback as you can get going to Michigan State right now. Really good get for the program. I absolutely love the coach heading in there. Kyle McCord going to Syracuse kind of raised some eyebrows, but I like that fit for him. Good for him to kind of find a spot that he can elevate that program. They win 9 games. Hey, he's a hero, right? He wins 11 games and loses 1 to Michigan, and he's a scapegoat. So from just a prospect, get some NIL money, maybe developing to a quarterback that can kind of do something, get some pro prospects up there. Shout out to Kyle McCord. Then you have Brock Vandegrift going to Kentucky. Sneaky good grab there. I like Brock. I've always kind of liked him. I know that they battled for that Georgia job, but I was a fan of his coming out. I think Kentucky's building something. Chip Chaney going there as well. When you look at the running back spot, I think if they keep their wide receivers in Barry Brown and Dan Key, I think that's a sneaky fun team out there in Kentucky. And Brock is one of those guys. He's got that athleticism. He's got the other stuff, the intangible stuff that you'd have to really like about him. And in DJU, DeQuan Finn going to Baylor, fun piece. What can he do? He was really good in Toledo. Baylor needed that. Aranda needed this guy. Like, he's going to need him to step up. He can maybe save his job. That's really what they're looking for there. And in DJU, where's he going to go? I know he's crystal ball, maybe to Louisville, maybe Florida State. So that's a lot of interesting. I think where he goes is going to be fun. I hope he goes to the ACC just so he plays Clemson. That's really what I want to see there. Now, as far as my, prospects, just spotlights here, player spotlights, Dante Moore is one, you see the numbers last year when he was at UCLA in the games that he played. Not great, right? 58 PFF offensive grade, big time throw, 6%, had some turnovers, right? 11 touchdowns and interceptions, which is uncharacteristic. In high school, Dante Moore didn't throw interceptions ever, right? When you look at what he was able to do, I'm pretty sure he had a 40-3 touchdown interception ratio. That's incredible in high school. His senior year, he was one of the most probably prolific high school players out of Michigan. Just what he was able to do there. I'm pretty sure he won 3 state titles, maybe 2 back-to-back, played in a third. Really, really good quarterback, right? Didn't see that at UCLA. Whatever the case, struggled under pressure, didn't have the weapons. Now he's going to Oregon, gonna have those weapons, he's gonna sit behind Dylan Gabriel. Really like that fit for him. I do think this could revitalize his pro prospects. I know, especially if you play Devy, which you may be at this channel for, like, you have to hope that it revitalizes that, sits behind Dylan, then comes out and really able to play well to where he gets in that first round buzz again, because his value definitely took a hit being at UCLA. Next guy is Cameron Ward, right? And again, if you've followed me at all, you might not know who the hell I am. You watch this for the first time. But if you have followed me, I've been a big Cam Ward guy just because I thought he, going to Washington State, just from a fantasy perspective, going to throw it around, right? He's looked okay. I thought at times, this year, I thought he elevated that offense a little bit more. Kind of struggled down the stretch of the season, but a very efficient kind of quarterback. Definitely kind of cut back on the turnovers a little bit. Turnover worthy plays only at 3%. It was in that 5 or 6 range last year. Big time throw though. He does make the throws. Like, that's the thing about Cam Ward. Like, he can make the throws. He was getting a little NFL buzz early on in the year. Definitely had to come back though, based on the end of the season. Offensive grade looked good. Under pressure is where he really struggled. But again, was at Washington State? I think that's the question that you have to look at. Like, if he goes to Miami, can he elevate Miami? Right. And I think that's a good gift from Miami with what they have. But again, he kind of goes into a situation with the weapons. I mean, I know they have some very good recruits coming in, but like, who's going to be their guy out there on the offensive side? Can Cam Ward get Miami back? I think that's the big question there. And then Riley Leonard, I like this fit. Like I said, I think he's a good bridge guy for Minchie or Carr, whoever comes in there and competes for that job after him. Can he elevate Notre Dame? I don't know. Like, that's the question that I think is, they just lost their offensive coordinator this week to another job, to a head coaching job. When you're looking at Notre Dame's schedule in 2024, it's not a hard schedule, but it is, there are some tough opponents in there. Texas A&M at Texas A&M, that's gonna be a tough one. He's playing his old coach. NIU, not bad. Purdue, like, they didn't get really tough schedules there in terms of the matchup, so they could run the table. To be quite honest with you, if they beat Texas A&M, they should probably be undefeated all the way to USC or Florida State, right? And then they got the big Florida State USC game there in that area in November. But Riley Leonard could be a big part of that. Now, by the numbers, PFF offensive grade was okay. Not a ton of big time throws. He got a little banged up this year. 2.8% turnover worthy play. I think he's an improvement over Sam Hartman, but how big of an improvement? Now, this is probably as good as Notre Dame could get in terms of, like, I know he was the big get out there, but will he elevate this offense? They do have Bo Collins coming in. You have seen them kind of try to be better and add pieces to that offense. Estime leaving, the running back, is a big hit. They're going to have to fill some pieces in there. I know they're hoping for Riley Leonard to really be that guy for them. Now, after that, you get some fun pieces here. This is where we get into the deep and nitty gritty of these guys. Malik Murphy, oh man, he's one of my guys in terms of, I think he could really elevate an offense if he lands a good spot. He's one of my favorite. Tyler Van Dyke going to Wisconsin. Will Rogers going to Washington. That's just going to be fun just seeing him throw the ball. KJ Jefferson is out there. I know he just put up his top 3. And, shocker, Miami's in there. But when you're thinking of KJ Jefferson, I think he had a really down year for Arkansas. A lot of that was their offensive coordinator who got fired. And I think when you're thinking of what can he do, TCU is in there. UCF, I think, would be kind of fun. I think UCF for KJ Jefferson is more his route that he should probably go to. TCU, I just don't see that fit there. But I do think UCF is probably where he's going to end up. Chandler Rogers going to Cal, probably a sneaky little play there. A lot of fun. 4-star recruit, when you're thinking of where he's coming from. That's a fun one to watch at. That's a good get for Cal, especially going to the ACC. Grayson McCall at NC State, fun, I guess, right? Like Grayson McCall 2 years ago would have moved the needle more than what he did last year. Max Brosmer going to Minnesota. That was the quarterback that they really needed to grab. It's always fun seeing a UNH guy, like just a small school guy, 6'2", 194 come in there. I put MJ Morris here. I know people don't like him because his dad and all those things. He's kind of been a headache for NC State. I think this is a good get for Maryland. He's a guy that can fill a role for 3 years, right? In this program, and they want to kind of be that middle tier team to win 8 games. MJ Morris is that guy. I think he's talented. I just hope that he's elevate his game because he definitely had inconsistencies there. Taylon Green going to Arkansas, sneaky too, with KJ leaving. Taylon is 100 one way and 100 the other way, right? When we're thinking of Taylon, what he's been able to do for Boise State, a lot of potential there. And that's the swing you got to take if you're Arkansas, right? And Bobby Petrino, those guys. That's the guy that you have to take and try to go for it. And then we got Max Johnson out there. Some other guys, Nate Johnson just went to Vanderbilt. Other dudes at the Curtis Work from Ohio went to Indiana. Not a bad get there. Keaton Hauser from Michigan State went to ECU. Thinking of guys like there, Tyler Shuck from Texas Tech went to Louisville. Those are some guys that are interesting kind of pieces there. As far as like the guy I want to kind of highlight, Malik Murphy, I think really could do well. In the games that he played 7 games. He won 2 games for Texas this year. I think that he has the strongest arm of a lot of these guys on this list that we think were transfer quarterbacks. I think it's fun to think about where he can go. Now, in terms of like where he's crystal ball to, Duke is on there, Oregon State. I really thought maybe Ohio State would be in the running. We haven't seen Ohio State quarterback. That's why I'm interested to see kind of maybe they swoop in and get one of these guys. Malik would be a lot of fun. For me personally, as a Michigan fan, as you can see, I would hate for Malik to go to Ohio State, right? I think that he could elevate that offense with the weapons, get the ball downfield to the playmakers. I think it'd be a lot of fun in Ohio State. But if he goes to some of these other schools, Duke, those type of areas, again, kind of a step down, but I just want him to play. I want Malik to be a starter. He did have this turnover where he plays. Obviously, great under pressure, wasn't great, but he's got to get the reps, right? So I do think next year he's going to take some lumps, but as he gets into that, I think he's going to be a little bit better. And then the last guy I want to highlight is Taylon Green. Intangibles. He's got those 6'6", 221. I love him in this offense. I think he's just going to be a wild card, right? I think when you're looking at Arkansas, they've needed a guy like this. They replaced KJ Jefferson, who I like KJ, but I do think that from a throwing standpoint, I do think Taylon Green's got some potential there. You see the rushing upside with Taylon Green. You see that right there for 436 yards as last year, 9 touchdowns. But I think that if you're looking for just a home run play, Taylon was your guy. So that's the transfer portal update. Just talking about some guys that we like. Just, hey, who are some guys out there that you like that can elevate that offense? I think, what do you think about Oregon? A lot of people think Dylan Gabriel was one of those guys that, can elevate this into like a Big Ten championship. I don't know. I saw him at Oklahoma. Like there was a reason why they kind of let him go. They have Jackson Arnold there. They kind of get Dante Moore, which I think is a good bridge. But do you think Dylan Gabriel can lead Oregon to almost at Pac-12? I got to get that out of my system. Some Big Ten championships there. Do you think Will Howard is the right fit for USC? Do you think Lincoln Riley's doing that the right way? And what do we think of Malachi Nelson? Where do you think he's going to go? When you're thinking of his recruitment, where he was at last year, I think it's going to be interesting to see kind of where he enters and where he decides that he's going to take his talents, because I don't know. Maybe people are worried about that. When I watch Malachi Nelson's film, it's here on the channel. He has some development to do. When you're looking at what he was there, you need to have some development there. I wanted to look and see, like, he got offered by Alabama, Georgia, Texas. Ohio State is on there too. That would be fun seeing him go to Ohio State. Drop it. What do you guys think? Drop in the comments where you think Malachi Nelson is going to end up. So appreciate you guys tuning in. Hit that like button. I'll see you next time.